saving enough for the cold run sail downtown. Test driving.
And we're here at Rockweiler Insulation with our third and final interviewee for our first program, Renee Wilson. Welcome to Chatting with the Chamber.
Thanks, it's my pleasure, Karl.
We're glad to have you. And Renee, why don't you start, your business has been in Verona for a long time. I know it was started by your dad. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, how your dad got into this business and how you continued into the business with him?
Well, he started the business in 1983. He had previously worked for another insulation contractor in the area and decided to go out on his own and institute his philosophy, and he thought he could do a really good job at that and satisfy customers. So he started with just one man and one truck in the basement of our house, and now has grown into what it is today. We have 20 employees and 15 vehicles, and it's quite an operation from where it started.
And how did you follow into the business? Was it just kind of following the family line? Or?
Well, in high school I helped unload the semis, and then he brought me into doing some of the office work, and I did that all through college. And once I graduated college, I decided to step into the family business, and it was something that I really felt I could do a good job at, and of course I was passionate about it because I've been around insulation my entire life, and it's just something that is very important to the environment, is to help people conserve energy. So I started in the office and kind of worked my way up, and now we're in the process of transitioning from me being a vice president to eventually being president. So.
Okay. And I know you're a local hometown business here in Verona, but you do business all around the area. Just how far and wide do you go?
Well, it depends. The bulk of our business is the south central Wisconsin area, but there are a few of our contractors who do work further north. We've gone all the way up to Presque Isle, Wisconsin, which is about as far north as you can go. We have one contractor that has built quite a few homes up there for some of his clients, so we'll travel that far. We've done Fox Valley area a few times. We do have another contractor that does a local franchise, restaurant franchise, and so we've gone all over Iowa and Wisconsin and some of Illinois following that. But the bulk of our work is the south central Wisconsin area.
And do you do commercial, residential, both?
We do both. The bulk of our work is the residential. Right now, with the new construction not as strong as it's been in the past, mostly we work with homeowners retrofitting their homes and upgrading the energy efficiency, but we do residential new construction. We also do commercial work, whether it's retrofitting commercial or new construction commercial.
Now that's an important point you touched on. Just because your house may be 30 years old doesn't mean you can't improve its insulation by adding or redoing or totally changing the insulation that exists. Is that correct?
That is correct, because as we keep moving along, we're learning a lot more about the industry and about standards and how we want to conserve energy. So even what we were building 5 years ago, the processes have changed, and so it's a really good idea if your home is 10 years or older, you want to have someone come in and take a look, and I'm sure that there's ways that we can improve your energy.
Okay. Now, does most of your heat go out of your roof or your windows, or what's the big problem area in a home?
Well, they say that 60% of the energy loss is through your ceiling, and most of that is because there are little air leaks in your ceiling from where you have penetrations that go through, like a light box, vent stack pipe, your bath fan, all those little things that poke through your ceiling. If they're not sealed around that and the air flow is stopped, your energy is going right through there. So that's one area that we improve a lot of people's homes, because that's something that we didn't do even 5 years ago, and now that's a standard, and if you were to build your home new today. So a lot of that energy goes right up through your ceiling, plus heat rises, so a lot of the heat goes through there as well.
Now, when you work with a customer to retrofit a home, for example, do they ever report back to you with how much they're saving once the insulation has been upgraded? Is there kind of an average,
You know, that's a really good question. A lot of it just depends on their energy usage, how many people are in the home, what they're doing. So, and how big the house is, where they were to begin with versus what we did to the home, and all of the areas that we improved, whether we did just the attic, if we did their sidewalls, if we did their basement box sill. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. So it's hard to value an actual average, but Energy Star says if you do certain energy upgrades like the air sealing, you can save up to, they say 30% of your heating and cooling costs. I think that's probably on the high side. I would venture to say it's probably closer to 15.
Okay. And is there a line in time where if your home is so many years old, you should really consider having your insulation evaluated?
I would say 10 years or older, just because of the fact that the air sealing now is the main focus. The air infiltration and stopping the airflow is what we really concentrate on now. This lovely product behind us, our insulation, that is a thermal barrier. And now we have integrated a lot of spray foam into what we do, and the spray foam is an air barrier, and that's where we can make a huge difference.
Okay. Is there a busier time of year for your business? I imagine, like most things, people wait till it starts to get cold and then they give you a call.
That is correct. Despite our best marketing efforts, to say that you really want to do this, and it matters just as much in the summer as the winter, because your cooling costs can also be a huge factor in your energy bill, depending on what kind of weather we get. Typically, people don't think about it until their furnace turns on, and usually that's about September, October, November. We get a lot of phone calls. So we're actually right now just kind of on the tail end of our really busy season, and so now we're ready to gear up for summer.
So for the consumer, is there an advantage to giving you a call now to maybe get their work done in the spring as opposed to waiting till fall?
Yes, definitely, because we can get to them quicker, and they'll be able to save energy on their cooling costs.
And if someone were to call you, about how many days does a project take typically? I mean, I realize that some will be really short and some really long, but on average, how long we have to be at a customer's house?
Well, if we were doing just the attic, typically it takes our crew anywhere from 4 to 8 hours, depending on the size of the home and the scope of the work. If we were doing the sidewalls, because we can also dense pack insulation into the sidewalls, that typically takes a couple days. And if you have one of those really complicated projects that it might be a Cape Cod or it's 100 years old or there's just a lot to do, there have been a few projects where we've been there for 4 or 5 days. It just kind of depends.
Okay. And when you're doing especially sidewalls, do you have to take drywall off and all that kind of stuff and replace it, or can you, I know with ceilings you can just blow insulation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But how complex are these projects? Do you need more contractors to do drywall work typically?
Well, the sidewall we try to do from the outside. So if you have siding, we would take off a piece of siding and then we drill a little 2-inch hole, and then we have a tube and we dense pack blow the insulation in just from that one strip of siding. They can go up and then they go down, and they fill that wall cavity, and they go along each channel and fill each channel. If you have brick, it gets a little more complicated. Then we typically have to go from the inside, which means then we drill holes in the drywall, and then we need to have a drywall person come and do the repair, paint. So.
But for ceilings, mostly you're up there blowing stuff in.
Right.
Correct?
Yep.
So a lot more disruptive.
Right. Less disruptive. A lot of people have their accesses right in a hallway or in a closet or even just in your garage, and so all we do is park our truck in the driveway, and our machine is mounted in the truck. They bring the hose up and blow in the insulation after we do all of the air sealing and make sure that everything is vented correctly.
Okay. So, what's your most unusual insulating story?
Well, because we're going into a lot of older homes, you would be surprised what some of the crews find in attics or sidewalls. Mostly attics. We've found old newspapers, like whole newspapers. One person actually took couch cushions and stuffed it around their chimney because there was a draft coming, which isn't really the safest thing to do. We've had critter stories where our installers have had bats flying around, or they've run into a raccoon. And there was one instance where one of our installers was in a crawl space and he ran into a whole nest of snakes, and he got out of there pretty quickly, and we told them we wouldn't come back until the snakes were gone. We don't need to work around that. But
Well, great. If someone watching this wanted to get in touch with you and look into having you do an estimate or evaluation of their home, how should they get in touch with you, and how long does the process take?
well, I would suggest that they visit our website at www.rockweiler.insulation.com. We have a lot of information there, videos of what our crews do. They can get a lot of background information to make sure that we are the contractor that they're looking for. And they can give us a call at 845-7625. And what we do is, once we get the call, one of our estimators will come out and set up a time to take a look at the situation. We'll get a price, and once we give the customer a price and they sign the contract, we come out and do the work. So it kind of just depends on the initial process of how flexible their schedule is, and if they can meet at the same time. But usually the proposal process only takes a week or so, and then to actually get the work schedule, that's the key of if you call us now, we can satisfy that a lot quicker. But if you call in October, November, December, then it's usually about a 6-week wait. So
And just to reemphasize the point, you can do work on any home or business.
that's correct.
All right. Well, Renee, thank you for being our third interviewee for our new show here, and look forward to talking to you more soon.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Carl.
All right.